You're listening to The Watchers. Ooh, that was a very 7 p.m.
That
vibe.
was like what is the woman that would do like Loveline type stuff?
Oh, Delilah.
Delilah, yes. It was
Love
very
Someone
Delilah.
Tonight. That was very Delilah.
Yeah.
You're listening to The Watchers, a show where two women from opposite ends of New Jersey watch movies and TV about Winona Ryder's voiceover talents.
Literally the only way that she's allowed to be in a movie, I guess. Is if she narrates it.
Is there an actor who has done voiceover for more films than Winona Ryder?
It's insane. I didn't even... Like, I've seen pretty much all of the Winona Ryder movies that we did already, except for Mermaids. And it never really occurred to me just how many of them she is narrating.
It's because of Heather's, right? Like,
it must be, but I also... Oh, I'm Jodie.
I'm Andrea.
You're Andrea. We watched Girl Interrupted.
And it's 7 p.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah, so who knows what this is going to be like, but wow. My initial thought after rewatching this, which is a movie I've seen and analyzed and made work about, is that movies don't have to be that good to be important.
I'm telling you, I almost think everybody should have to do a podcast where they examine the things they love. It is so fascinating to revisit these things that I've never once watched with a critical eye.
I know. I mean, there's a lot of reasons this movie is important to me, namely the time it came out, what was going on with me at the time, like all sorts of other stuff. But then also the fact that I did make like a bunch of work about it later on.
There's a lot of good in this movie. When I was watching it, I was like, oh, I wonder if Jodie's going to be worried that I'm not going to be thrilled with watching this movie, because I know that we've both had that feeling about other ones.
But I think I mentioned this last week. I don't have the same emotional connection to this movie. Like, it never really like grabbed my soul like some of the other ones we've talked about did. Like,
I think you referred to it last week as a text you studied, and I totally get that.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
so many books that I know frontwards, backwards, could talk about all day long that I wouldn't consider a favorite necessarily, but one that is like important to my development as a scholar or whatever. Like, exactly. I totally get that. And also there is a lot to like in this movie.
Totally. And I mean, like, I really liked it when it came out in 99. I was in college, kind of around that same time period for the characters. And then I revisited it when I was in grad school, and I was studying these psychiatric institutions from the Kirkbride era that we talked about last week, Harrisburg State Hospital being one of them. And so I went back and revisited the sort of pop culture and media that was either filmed in or based in those buildings. And that's how I kind of came back around to it.
Yeah. I was 13 when this movie came out. My cousin Shelly and I saw it in the movie theater. We used to see R-rated movies a lot, and we would have my grandparents buy the tickets, and then we would just go in, you know? And it's the only movie where somebody stopped us before we went in. Whoa. So my grandfather had to come in and watch this movie with us. And it's not the most like grandpa friendly movie.
No.
But I was trying to remember. I don't think I've seen it since then. So that was 25 years ago for me. But I remembered so much of it, which I think says a lot about the movie. Like, nothing was a surprise to me. So, I
mean, I was like thinking to myself when we were talking about it, like, do I even need to watch it again? I've seen it so many times and like, you know, picked it apart. But it's so funny. Like, the number of times I've looked at it recently have been like literally to pull screenshots from it or to, you know, like look at the structure or whatever, not to actually like watch it as a movie. There's so much about the way this is structured that I forgot how much it jumps around time wise. Like, to me, it's all chronological in my head because I know the story so well. So the fact that it starts with like almost like a flashback, flash forward, present time, past time, like it jumps around all like crazy in the beginning, and I totally forgot about that. I also forgot that she like says the name of the movie out loud in the first like 2 minutes.
I was just a girl. Interrupted.
I was like, oh no, I forgot she does that.
That felt
That's
very
bad.
90s to me. I don't know.
But I mean, the number of Winona Ryder voiceover movies at this point is getting a little absurd. Like, are there any we haven't done?
I don't know if there are any we haven't done, but none of the Winona Ryder movies we've watched don't feature. That's the way to say that. Every Winona movie we've watched features a Winona voiceover, I think. I think that's true.
Wow. That said, like, I didn't watch this movie and be like, oh, this is brilliant, everyone is wrong about it. Like, I definitely see the issues with it. But I still think it's interesting, especially in 1999 when we were just really starting to talk about mental illness more publicly.
That's a really good point. I think
this was wildly. This was right after Prozac Nation came out, the book. Not right after, but like 5 years later, and it was this late 90s, like, oh my God, we're actually going to talk about mental health out loud kind of moment.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, and it is weirdly complicated. Like, I was trying to decide, because I read a review, we'll talk about them later, but that kind of said, like, they're sort of, these characters are given a diagnosis and then that's their whole character, which is sort of true.
Yeah.
But I also think that it's like, I don't spend a lot of time feeling bad for any of them, really. Like, not feeling bad, that's not what I mean. Like, pitying any of them, really, except for maybe Daisy. Like, they get to be funny, almost all of them.
Yeah.
They get, I don't know.
I think also the idea that they're just a diagnosis. I mean, the main character has a diagnosis that she talks about all the time, but also talks about how she doesn't quite understand it and doesn't understand if it fits and what it is. And, like, you know, as someone who knows people with borderline personality disorder, like, that's kind of a feature. Like, but also, like, it's a slippery diagnosis, and it's often given to women when they don't know what else to give them.
Especially in 1967.
Yeah.
It's funny because that's the other thing I wanted to talk to you about with this movie is, like, I kept going back and forth on things like the way they talk to Susanna, especially, as if she could just choose to be sane. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's so hard to tell, especially with the way they portray her mental illnesses on screen, if that's true, if this diagnosis is incorrect.
Well, have you read the book?
No, I've never read the book.
Okay.
But
There's
I
some
know
interesting comparisons there.
Well, yeah, I did read a lot this weekend about the adaptation, though, and how much darker and I think more real, which makes sense because it's an autobiography and her actual memoir.
Yeah.
The book is. So that's what I was curious about, if Susanna in real life does fit the...
Yeah. I mean, so maybe we'll just talk about it here because, you know, it's an adaptation. Mm-hmm. We have to kind of talk a bit about it. So the memoir was written in 93 by Susanna Kaysen about her 2 years at McLean Hospital in Belmont, Mass. Claymore is obviously a stand-in for McLean. McLean, famously not a Kirkbride building.
Interesting.
Yes. But similar time frame, a little bit later.
I will say...
It was built in the cottage style.
Gotcha. Okay.
In case you were wondering. Ooh.
What happened?
Thunder.
Oh, I didn't hear it. My brain went 67, 93. She must have been like 90 when she wrote this memoir. That's so far apart. She was like in her mid 40s.
Yes. She's still alive.
Like our age.
Yeah, she's still alive. So she was born and raised in Cambridge to a pretty well-off family. Her dad...
Susanna, where are you from?
Cambridge, Massachusetts. That's a dropout reference for people who don't know. She was born and raised in Cambridge from a pretty well-off family. Her father was a professor at MIT and who was also a former advisor to JFK. So,
fancy
like,
stuff.
Yeah. Like,
which they sort of hint at her fanciness
absolutely.
In the movie, but not quite that.
When she's leaving for the hospital, there's a Kennedy sign on the lawn, and you're just like... You think about the whole, like, Massachusetts liberal thing, but then you find out actually in real life he, like, worked with Kennedy.
Right.
So the thing I think that's interesting to me about the book versus the movie is, you're right, it's a lot darker. There's things that are, like, that were movie-ified, like, that were dramatized. A lot of things were dramatized, like Lisa and Susanna never ran away together and all that stuff. But, like... The thing that's significant to me is the way Susanna acted on the ward in real life versus in the movie. Because in the book, she talks about while she was in the ward, she went through a period of depersonalization where she, quote, bites open the flesh on her hand after she becomes terrified that she has lost her bones.
Yeah, that's like real,
like
actual.
And they portray her in the hospital as mostly a sane, sad person.
That's what because they mentioned like when she's being rushed to the hospital and she says like, check my hand, there's no bones in it. And they show all the bruising. But as soon as she gets to the hospital, all of that kind of goes away.
Yeah. And, you know, I used the word sane there, and I am a person who believes that line is incredibly slippery and those words are pretty unhelpful sometimes. But just to say that Susanna in real life was experiencing more mental health crises in the hospital than Susanna in the movie.
Which I think would have been helpful, unless this movie wants us to think Susanna is like, well, she's not unwell. It's just that it's 1967. And, you know, we see that like the biggest sort of problem in her life is that she doesn't want to go on to Vassar or wherever, you know what I mean? And she's in this like, and she wants to be a writer, which in 1960, blah, blah, blah.
It's
like,
trying to fit into the whole, like, I mean, we're going to have to compare it to Cuckoo's Nest because everyone else has, but like it falls into the whole countercultural versus insane thing. It's like, is the person just not fitting into society because they're different and a rebel and blah, 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 or are they actually like seriously ill? And I think it wants to play in that same sandbox that Cuckoo's Nest does.
Yeah. And then it's funny too, at the end of the movie. So there's this, when they run away, she has that little conversation with the guy who's like, oh, my friend used to see purple people. He went away. He told him he stopped seeing them. She's like, oh, he got better. And he's like, no, he just,
I don't know about it.
Yeah. And when it's the night that she's about to leave, they do this thing with the shadows in the window where they sort of, the trees, they sort of move and elongate a little bit in a way that is a little unnatural. And I was like, oh, that would be interesting commentary to like pull back to that and give us a little bit of the like, oh, maybe she is just doing a better job of hiding this thing. But I don't actually think that's what's going on. So
I don't think so either. So in the book, in the real life memoir in her life, she basically does start to get better over time. She starts to apply for jobs from the hospital, but obviously has trouble getting one because she has been hospitalized. She talks about becoming a writer. She's encouraged to find nice, clean work as a dental technician. But basically, she ends up going on some dates with someone that she used to know romantically way back, and he proposes and she accepts, and it doesn't seem like it's necessarily a romance type of thing, but it's like, I think she accepts the proposal so that this is the next step for her. And she like leaves the hospital and goes and marries this man. They do not stay together, but it does really seem like one of the big problems that she continues to have is she just isn't sure what to do next.
Right.
You know? So, yeah, I think there's a lot of differences from the book. The main thing about the book is there's really no plot. It's like a series of vignettes almost.
Right.
And so they had to kind of put together the plot and almost not make it up, but like really dramatize it compared to the book.
And that I read that Lisa's character is much less, aside from the whole they didn't run away together thing.
Yeah.
And Daisy not dying because of Lisa. No, I mean, not because of Lisa, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, she does die by suicide, but they hadn't gone to see her.
Yeah. But also just that Lisa is just much less prominent in the book. But it makes sense then that you would give a character like that more to do and to give her some opposition to kind of...
Right. Yeah. The character of Susanna versus the person if Susanna needs a foil or someone to react against.
Exactly.
So pretty soon after this book came out, it was optioned by one of the producers of this movie, Douglas Wick. And then Winona Ryder decided she wanted it and wasn't going to not get it. And so she kind of convinced him, chased him down, etc.
Yeah, I read that it was only a few weeks after he had bought the rights. Like, she was just a little slow on it. I also read that, like, she got her hands on a galley copy because of who her parents were. So she had, like, read it before it was even published. So she was, like, a fan early on.
Yeah, yeah. Doug Wick had done Working Girl and another movie we've talked about, The Craft.
I know.
That's really funny.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so she decided that they were going to work together. And so he said, okay, we're going to work together, is what it sounded like, because she was kind of famous Hollywood actor. This was the first movie that she was a co-producer on.
Well, and it seemed like a pretty smart move because its cast is star-studded, and I'll bet a lot of that had to do with Winona's name being attached.
Absolutely. There were a couple of screenwriting attempts at it before. This was like a 6-year process. So Lisa Loomer took a run at it. A writer named Anna Hamilton Phelan took a run at it. It sounds like, so it depends on who you talk to. It seems like, because when you talk to James, I almost said Robert Mangold, that's the artist, James Mangold, about it, he basically says that he had to do a bunch of aggressive rewrites to their script to make it work as a movie. And then when you read interviews with the two women, they kind of say that their version was closer to the book and less dramatic. And they were both surprised how much it had changed in the final version.
I read Lisa say something like, it's just saying something like it's a more masculine movie.
She said it was more aggressive, and that, like, and she was like, you know, like, if Greta Gerwig had written it, it would have been very different. I'm not saying it's better or worse, but it's like, hi, Lisa, I kind of think you are. But they would have been wearing flapper costumes instead. She heard the actual quote I have it is, when I say the script became more dramatic, I think you could also characterize that as more of a male take. It became a more aggressive film. It would be a very different film, for example, if Greta Gerwig were handling that same material today. I'm not saying better or worse. I'm just saying different. So, yeah, she said when you talk to Mangold about it, he says, Lisa is a sensitive writer and it was an earnest script. There was an essential question, which was the movie has to take a position. You have to make real on-screen struggles happening to the protagonist. You can't just watch the characters try to kill themselves and moan that they don't feel right. That's what I felt was at risk in Lisa's script.
Yikes.
I didn't know how what Susanna was going through would be made visual. Yeah.
I mean, there's something to be said for that. Because if it's closer to the book, and as you said, there's not really much of a plot in the book because it is her memoir.
It's true. Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah. I'd be curious to see that version.
Yeah, definitely, probably. It wouldn't have been as successful. So they got James Mangold involved, the director, who, like we just said, did those aggressive rewrites. He had just done Copland, which, as far as I know, is our only Jersey connection that I have found. You may have found others, but
I don't think I did.
Have you seen Copland?
No, but I know it is.
I haven't seen it either, but apparently it's a character study of a hearing-impaired underdog New Jersey sheriff. Did not know that.
Yeah. I only know that because I know every movie that was, that's set in Jersey, but I don't know anything about it.
Fair.
But he did say that it's like, that movie is 95% men or something like that.
Yes.
And so this was I think there are only 3 men in this movie, like 5 men in this movie, so.
Yeah. Other things that he's known for are, to me, notably Walk the Line, which I enjoyed. That's 2 things in the X-Men franchise, Wolverine and Logan. And then most recently, he did Ford v Ferrari, and A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan movie. And he got a Academy Award nomination for that.
It's an interesting...
It's all over the place, yeah.
I know Wolverine and Logan are slightly more like grounded takes on the superhero genre, so that sort of, makes a little more sense, but yeah. Very varied.
He when he talks about this project and the process of getting it made, he says, I was unsure about getting involved. I thought everyone wanted a Lifetime movie. Weepy girls in smocks, all retching and twitching. Mangold, who has a reputation as an actor's director, reworked the script to beef up the grittiness quotient. I said, I want to make a monster movie, a movie about what it's like to lose your boundaries in the world. He ballooned the hostile insanity of Lisa Rowe and anchored the story in a parallel narrative, The Wizard of Oz, where a normal girl thrown headlong into an unfamiliar world befriends several misfits. When Girl came out in theaters, critics dubbed it Cuckoo's Nest with Chicks and gave it middling reviews.
The Wizard of Oz thing is something I really struggled with because the metaphor is a little heavy-handed, especially when Clea's crying. And it's the scene when she says, like, what you needed to go home has been, with you all along, which is where I was like, is this movie saying Susanna is sane or insane? But although, as I say that, I think that the same is up for interpretation with Dorothy, right? Like, was it all in her head or not, or both, or, it's a both and kind of thing. So maybe I feel okay about it.
I mean, nothing in this movie is subtle. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of have to be okay with that. It is not a subtle movie. None of it is like, I've forgotten how just like, I don't even know how to say it. Like, how obvious everything is in it. Like, yeah. Real quick, let's just kind of cover the plot in case people haven't seen it. I can probably do this in like 3 seconds. Susanna Kaysen, memoir, rich girl in Cambridge, doesn't really have an idea of what she wants to do for her future. She's one of her only fellow graduates from high school who isn't going on to some fancy college. She's struggling with depression and, who knows what else, but she has a suicide attempt that she claims wasn't a suicide attempt. She has a meeting with a psychiatrist who's a friend of her father's and ends up in a hospital in the movie called Claymore, where she spends about 2 years. We get to know all the other characters in the hospital, and she kind of rebels and then doesn't and then gets better, but we're not sure if she does, and then she leaves. Like, that's the thing. The plot is not much of a plot. It
feels very much like, let's hang out with these kooky women for a while. Yeah. I will say the timing in this movie, it does not feel like 18 months to me. Because a lot of that is collapsed into that little montage toward the end where she starts actually going to therapy and painting.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that every character in this movie is between the age of 16 and 22. And I think the youngest person
except the woman that she blows smoke at in the ward. There's an older woman that's sitting on the couch next to her that she decides to be like a bitch and blow smoke in her face, and then is like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I don't know why I did that.
Well, based on the ages of the actors playing these teenagers, though, it's possible that character is supposed to be like 25, because all of these actors, except for Elizabeth Moss, are well into their 20s or older at this point. And in fact, I forgot how young Susanna's supposed to be. And I was
18 in the beginning.
Yeah, and in my head, I was like, oh, they're really jumping around in time, because when she slept with that professor, like, it felt to me like she was supposed to be in his class. And then I was like, wait, I thought she didn't go to college.
Right.
But no, it's just that Winona Ryder's 28 years old or whatever in this.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah. And, in the plot, the character of Lisa, like we said, is a much larger presence, but at the end of the film she ends up sort of adjacent to our Cuckoo's Nest ending, where she is also had shock treatment or ECT and is sort of half present.
Yeah, but it felt that's funny too, because it's like she's sort of our McMurphy stand-in, but definitely. Susanna also is a little bit in the, like, is she really? But it's interesting because the way Angelina talks about playing Lisa, she's like, I never thought she was insane. And in that way, if you think of Lisa as a sane person who knows, I keep using sane, that's not,
again, it's a shorthand.
Yeah. But in that way, she you really can sort of read her as McMurphy in that. That's her problem, is she's too big, but otherwise, okay. But did it feel to you like the way the two of them reconcile at the end, that Lisa is sort of admitting that she's not a sociopath and that she kind of has decided maybe she's going to get, quote unquote, better. And in that case, is it did the ECT treatments work? Like, what are we supposed to think?
I don't know that we're supposed to think they work, because I think they're portrayed as just a punishment in this movie. But, you know, in real life, again, talking about the memoir of it all, Susanna kept in touch with Georgina and then eventually did see Lisa at some point out of the hospital, and now she was like a single mother and seemed to Susanna, at least, to be normal, sane, whatever you want to call it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like our movie from last week, this was shot on location at a working mental institution, also a Kirkbride building. And if for some reason you're joining us on this episode for the first time and you're like, what the hell is a Kirkbride building? I went into it quite a bit last week, but because this was filmed about 2 decades after Cuckoo's Nest, there was a lot more of Harrisburg State Hospital that was abandoned and not in use. Parts of the hospital still were, but there were big whole wings that hadn't been used in a really long time, to the point where they had to do like a lead abatement before they could film in there.
Jesus.
Yeah. And they definitely so I think when they filmed Cuckoo's Nest, like there was definitely set design things that they went in and did to make it look the way they wanted. But it sounds to me more like they already had what they wanted in that ward, versus here they had a semi-abandoned building they had to redress. And Richard Hoover, the production designer, references Ward 80, which is Mary Ellen Mark's photo series, where she went and photographed in a psychiatric hospital as one of his inspirations for the design. He said, there's this great book called Ward 80 or something, which has these black and white photos of mental institutions. Yes, artist named Mary Ellen Mark.
There's some kind of book or whatever.
Yeah, and it's Ward 81, not Ward 80. Anyway, which is horrifying and ugly. We used that a lot as a reference for the look of the film, but we didn't really overdo it. The idea was to not go so oppressive with it, to lighten the color and keep it in its own institutional way, quote unquote, happy. So I talked last week a lot about how these places have a very specific look to them, the windows, the big hallways, all of that. And this feels brighter and more open than the ward in Cuckoo's Nest. It feels more paternalistic. It feels more like less like prison vibes and more caretaking, I feel. But same architecture. We have mentioned the star-studded cast, but we have obviously Winona Ryder as Susanna Kaysen, Angelina Jolie as Lisa. Apparently she spent a week in solitary confinement. Yeah. To prepare for the role.
Which is not
necessary.
No, and especially because throughout the movie, I don't think there's ever a moment where Lisa herself spends a week in solitary confinement.
No, I mean, she's isolated in that sort of padded room a few times after treatments, but yeah.
Susanna's coming to visit her. And
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I read she really kept to herself on set too, which is funny because again, Lisa does not keep to herself. She's the ringleader throughout most of the movie.
Yeah, but I saw an interview with Angelina Jolie at the time saying like I couldn't care about Winona Ryder as a person and what she was going through and then scream at her as Lisa. Like it sounds like she couldn't kind of disconnect in the same way.
Which again is also interesting because Lisa doesn't have that one level of connection with Susanna. There's definitely, she does care about her as much as, and that's part of it.
Yeah. All of the interviews and things I saw about the two of them in particular were like, they're so much like their characters, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, the number of times I heard Angelina Jolie referred to as raw. Yeah. I think that we like to kind of slot people into these I don't know, the things we've seen about them in tabloids.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I will. That said, she did spend a week in solitary confinement voluntarily beforehand. So
fascinating.
We've got Clea Duvall as Georgina.
I just love her.
I know.
When she's crying watching The Wizard of Oz, I got choked up, even though I think it's heavy-handed.
Yeah.
But just seeing her do that, like, kind of sad, happy cry was really, really affecting.
I also love the moment where she tells Susanna that she's a pathological liar. Just the way she says it is so sweet. And
we don't get to see her do enough pathological lying.
Well, so interestingly, this was a little confusing to me, but in the book, the character of Polly did actually like light herself on fire. Mm-hmm. But in the movie, this actually we are supposed to think is a lie that is told by Georgina.
I wasn't sure if that's what we're supposed to think when we see that article, or if it's that, and in so doing, burned her house down.
On fire, right? Okay,
but I think,
yeah,
and especially with this stuff with Ruby. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you that it is confusing. It's not totally clear that that's what is actually being communicated there.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a little strange, but
now I'm even more unsure considering what you know about the book.
Yeah.
So,
Polly, of course, being played by a very young Elizabeth Moss, almost unrecognizable in the burn makeup until you see the photo of her from her childhood.
Yeah.
Brittany Murphy, rest in peace, as Daisy. It's so hard not to see her and think of Clueless since we watched it pretty recently.
And she looks the most like Ty in this movie than in any other. I was going to say earlier when we were saying, like, you were like, I don't know how to say this, but it's like so obvious, is that like when we're introduced to her, she's begging for Colace. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah.
Because she's not allowed to have regular laxatives. And it's just like, yeah. They're not very subtle with her character, especially.
No, I'm with most of them, honestly. Other girls in the mix, we have Angela Bettis as Janet Weber, who is anorexic. I think she's sort of a sleeper in this movie, but she's really good.
Yeah.
Like, she's in the background a lot, but I feel like her character is really, I don't know. I felt very like, oh, I know what this character is. Like, she has a lane for herself in the movie.
Yeah, she's a little less, or a little more grounded, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why she doesn't pop as much, but is...
Right. Feels like a real person.
Yeah, exactly.
And not amped up a ton. Jillian Armanante as Cynthia. I forgot how funny Cynthia is in this.
For?
In the movie, she's technically a severe depressive. Oh no, she claims she's a sociopath, but yeah, she's in for being gay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I think so.
I think so too.
It's so funny the way they then style her and stuff, and the way she's always standing with her hands with like her thumbs in her pockets, like a cool like greaser kind of.
The whole time she just could be saying like, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Huh? Yeah, I forgot how fun her character was. Mm-hmm. So leaving the men in this for last, no offense. Whoopi Goldberg as the most magical black person character, like trope, stereotype. I forgot how bad this was. Like, I also kind of forgot about the racist songs they're constantly singing to her, but like even that compared to how she has no personality other than being a benevolent, like, black woman.
And that, like, we're supposed to admire her for, like, not at least showing that she's upset when they're racist to her.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's so unfair that that's presented as a positive trait when what she should do is slap every one of those girls in the face.
Well, and also, like, in that montage that kind of covers our year and a half, we see very briefly Martin Luther King dying.
Yes.
Now, we don't see him dying, but we see like the impact of his death. We see them watching the news, and all of the girls, you see all the girls watching and kind of have these shocked looks on their faces. And then there's a separate shot of Whoopi Goldberg's character, Valerie, like outside by herself. And it's like, I'm not sure what you're trying to do here.
Right. Like, yeah, it is. It just felt so, especially Susanna. It's like, that's one of the moments where I'm like, oh, they're really showing something with Susanna, because that's clearly one of those like impulse control things where they've played her so mostly kind. Like, and then that she pops off on this person in this really hateful, heinous way where it's like, and I don't know. It's very strange.
Every time I've watched, even the first time I watched this, I don't think I ever thought that Susanna was meant to be like the quote unquote hero in this movie. But the more I've seen it and the older I've gotten as I've seen it, I'm like, yeah, she's kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Like she,
which is fine. I actually almost
like
prefer
it's good,
that it would be that they would lean a little more, not into the racism, but into letting her be a more difficult person.
Yeah, exactly. The only fun fact I have about this role is just a Whoopi Goldberg fact. Apparently, she lived in a bus on the parking lot next to the hospital during the filming because she doesn't like hotels. So I don't remember who the interview was with. Oh, it was with the director, James Mangold. He said she has this amazingly decorated bus that she lived in and had lived literally on campus.
Incredible.
Yeah. I'm into it.
She lives in Jersey, right? That's a connection.
Does she?
I think she's an Alpine person. She wasn't born in New Jersey, but I think worse, actually. Much worse. Llewellyn Park in West Orange.
But she does live in Jersey.
Yeah, which is a weird little gated community for our listeners, a very wealthy gated community in a town that is not known for being especially wealthy. So that's why I said it's worse.
Yeah, she was born in New York, but
but yeah, she lives in Llewellyn Park.
I mean, I will say, like, her character is, I think, a perfect example of the sort of like magical Black person that is there only to make the other characters come around and improve themselves. But she is really good in this role.
Yeah, she's like, I really liked her. Forget how good she is.
Yeah. No, I loved her in this movie. I mean, I think when I first saw it, I wasn't really aware of what they were doing or not doing with her as a character. I just thought that she was kind of great. But yeah. Anyone else that we want to mention in the cast?
No, just this quote from Whoopi about moving to New Jersey, which is, I lived in the city and had no way of sitting outside because every time I go sit outside, 50 people would come and hang out. So you know what she did?
She moved to Jersey.
She banged herself in the head.
She banged herself in the head, got in the car, and drove to New Jersey.
Yeah. Anyway.
Hell yeah. I forgot that Vanessa Redgrave is in this as Dr. Wick. And then Jeffrey Tambor also.
Yeah.
As Melvin.
Scandal noted.
Scandal noted. And then Jared Leto, scandal noted in... Is there a scandal that we're supposed to note?
He as a person.
Yeah.
I don't know that... Yeah. It's just... if the scandal is being generally unlikable, I think.
Exactly. That's why I hesitated. Jared Leto in some of the worst wig work I've ever seen.
It is unbelievable.
The wig and the fake beard.
It's so funny.
You can see where it's attached to his face.
This movie looks great otherwise. It's not like it's poorly costumed or...
No, but the men... It's not just weird. Jared Leto. His is the worst, but the guy that she's with in the party later on also is wearing a terrible wig.
It could be that they shared that wig, in fact. It's
Maybe.
Really... That hair is bad. It's like really
rough.
trying to remind us that it's the 60s.
Yeah. Where apparently everyone had, like... plastic hair.
One of my favorite like jokes, so dark in this movie, is when what's her face is calling bingo as they're pulling the draft. She sees that he gets drafted.
I know. Bingo.
Terrible. So dark.
Yep. Alt casting like most movies in the 90s, is every other person from every other movie we've seen. Mm-hmm. Christina Ricci, Reese Witherspoon, Katie Holmes, Kate Hudson, Alicia Witt, Rose McGowan, and then a couple of different ones from our usual list. Mm-hmm. Courtney Love.
Yeah, I read
as
that.
Lisa.
Did you read our fun little tiny connection to last week?
Yes. Milos Forman, I think, was the person talking to James Mangold about Courtney Love, right?
I think they happened to be like sitting next to each other on a plane or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like very happenstance.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Mm-hmm. And Foreman had just worked with her in People versus Larry Flint.
That's right. I can kind of see that.
Her as Lisa? Yeah, totally.
She's a good alt. There's somebody else who read for Lisa that I was like, I don't think so. Who got
Parker Posey read for her. Turned it down.
I could see Parker more in the Susanna, but that just might be the dark hair.
There was also Alanis Morissette in consideration for a unnamed role.
No. Yeah, if you had to place Alanis, where would she go?
I think Alanis would be not Lisa. She doesn't have that darkness. Mm-hmm. Not Susanna either. Maybe. Well, no, probably not. It's hard. There's no one that I'm like.
I know.
Kind of automatically.
Which I guess makes sense. She could be the nurse, the younger nurse.
Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, there's nothing that like with Courtney Love, you can see her being Lisa.
Totally. Speaking of that younger nurse, that's one of the things that I liked about this movie too, is it did a good job of showing the kind of like mundanity of this kind of life, other than when Lisa comes in to stir things up. But when they're all kind of just like chatting with that nurse and she's talking about her fiance who wants to have sex before they get married. Like, I was like, yeah, of course, like, you're with these women all day, every day. You're gonna get...
And you're close in age.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So that's pretty much the cast. Mm-hmm.
Other than the men who we put to the side.
Well, we mentioned Jared Leto's wig.
That's a really good point. Well, and Red from that 70s show. He's the first... he's... the doctor on the outside that recommends her. Something I was thinking about, and I don't know where this falls in, but as I was watching this and making the Cuckoo's Nest connections, which again would be hard to make for any movie set in a mental hospital, of course, but there are some really specific ones, like the fact that one of the things that gets Susanna in the most trouble is she has some sort of, I don't know if they have sex or what, but
I think they just make out in the hallway and like fall asleep.
John, the sweet nurse or orderly or whatever, who likes her, and they all fall asleep outside of their rooms and get in trouble when Nurse Ratched, Whoopi Goldberg, shows up, like that kind of thing. Yep. But I kept thinking about our conversation about Now and Then versus Stand By Me. Yeah. Of like, even if these movies aren't perfect, it just feels good to let women have a crack at a thing that is often like, and I was trying to think again, like I said, this isn't connected really, but I was trying to think if there are other movies like that we need to visit that are paired that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that does come up a lot in the reviews, which were not the most positive.
Did you find the one that made me laugh out loud last week?
I don't know if I did, but because there were more than one or two that were pretty harsh.
Yeah, again, for all of I think we've been pretty even and realistic about how we've talked about this movie. I think some of them were too mean.
There was one. Did you read the CNN one?
I'm not sure. What did they have to say?
Oh my God. This dude hates women. I'm just going to put that out there. This man, Paul. This is a review from the time, I believe. This is from 99. He says, the good news... This is the one that made me laugh out loud. He says, the good news is... It's so brutal. The good news is that writer-director James Mangold's Girl Interrupted is one of the best films of the year. The bad news is that you have to be a hypersensitive 17-year-old girl to think so. The entire essay is him ripping this movie apart, and at the end he just decides to comment on Angelina Jolie's body.
Oh, obviously, of course. Yeah.
He says there's no denying Jolie's physical appeal. She's got a body to die for and unforgettable throw pillow lips.
Ew. Oh, it makes my skin crawl.
He says she just shows off more than she acts, prancing around and repeatedly falling into rebellious postures, too aware of her own allure to bother inhabiting a character. Though undeniably charismatic, I'm telling you he hates women. Though undeniably charismatic, Jolie would be better off if she wasn't so pleased with herself. But then she might run the risk of seeming like someone who's locked it up in a psych ward.
Jesus.
Why is that in a review of this movie? Like, that's just, you hate her.
Yeah.
She won an Academy Award for this movie. She's the only one that it got.
She's great in it.
Yeah.
You just hate her because she's beautiful.
Pretty, yeah. Because she wouldn't date you, probably.
Because she's beautiful and knows it, is what you just said.
Literally.
Did you find the
oh my God.
review that says something about them dragging their diagnoses around like a ball and chain? That was another one.
I don't think so. I did find, so there was one in LA Times that connects it to Cuckoo's Nest. And says, it's hard to talk about Lisa, played by Jolie, without making her sound like a cliche. This film's version of Jack Nicholson's R.P. McMurphy and Cuckoo's Nest. Like him, Lisa is the ward's life force, a rebel who dominates everyone she comes into contact with and knows just how to bend the institution's rules. So this is what you were referring to earlier. Mm-hmm. The one there was the New York Times one. One of the lines I wrote down was, Miss Ryder's character is, to put it plainly, a shrill, whiny pain in the neck.
I don't think she's shrill.
No. I think
she might be a whiny pain in the neck.
Yeah, I do think the rest of it's probably accurate.
But I do think that's another thing of being like, you can't just call a woman you don't like shrill because you don't like her.
Right. Yeah. In that same one, it compares it again to Cuckoo's Nest and says, while it doesn't begin to match One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in metaphorical resonance and emotional clout, Girl Interrupted presents a meticulous true-to-life portrait of the time and a place. So, not a terrible review.
I think Winona is a little... We both love her, obviously. We've watched 100 of her movies at this point.
Yes.
She is a little playing Winona in this movie. She's a little wide-eyed. She's a little trembly.
She's more than a little wide-eyed and trembly. It's a lot.
That haircut is perfect, though. She's never looked better than she does in this movie. I know,
that is the haircut. That is actually the haircut I got when I was 19.
She also has the best clothes in
Yeah.
this movie. I love everything they put her in.
Yeah. I know. So we were joking about the costuming before, about what it would be if this was a Greta Gerwig movie, but I do think that it's 63 without being like fucking 63 in your face. Like it's more casual. It's really well done, actually. We do have a Roger Ebert review.
Uh-oh.
Did you read it?
No.
Okay. He gave it 2.5 stars. He didn't love the film, but he did praise specifically Winona Ryder and Angelina Jolie. He said his criticism was, he said, themes make an appearance from time to time, but not consistently. The film is mostly about character and behavior, and although there are individual scenes of powerful acting, there doesn't seem to be a destination. That's why the conclusion is so unsatisfying. The story, having failed to provide itself with character conflicts that can be resolved with drama, turns to melodrama instead. Which I tend to agree with.
Yeah, once in a while.
Yeah.
Once in a while, it's like he's got this job for a reason.
Yeah. And then he does say 2 reasons to see the film Winona Ryder and Angelina Jolie. Their characters never really get a plot to engage them and are subjected to a silly ending, but moment to moment they are intriguing and watchable. Their work here deserves a movie with more reason for existing. So.
It is weird that they reconcile because Winona paints her nails.
Yeah,
like that's her way in. I did read that the original cut of this movie was 3 hours long.
Good Lord.
And so I just wonder what we lost. Maybe there's a scene where Lisa's freaking out because she doesn't have nail polish. I actually don't know if that makes this better or worse.
Oh, God. I think there's an assumption we're supposed to make, I think, that their bond is still strong, even though they basically seem to hate each other right before that.
Yeah.
So
it is again, maybe that's some stuff that's lost in that edit.
That extra couple hours.
Yeah.
No movie should be 3 hours.
Nope.
Definitely not. I was thinking, I stopped taking notes at a certain point just because I was like, I've seen this movie a bunch. I don't need to keep taking notes about what's actually happening. But I did, the last thing I wrote down, and I think you'll understand this, is bowling equals fishing.
Yeah, it's their...
Yeah, it's their fishing trip. They're breaking into the basement and bowling.
Right, exactly. And we do have one trip, but it is a supervised...
To the ice cream parlor.
To the ice cream parlor in December.
I do love that scene, though.
I think it's very cute. It's fun. And what's her face? Whose character I don't totally understand what her deal is, but the one who keeps yelling Peppermint Dick, Peppermint Clay for no reason.
I know. I also read that during those cold outdoor scenes, Whoopi Goldberg always had those little hot hands things with her and would give them to people.
Oh, that's really
to
keep
keep them warm.
I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like I built this movie up so much, but it's so hard because I have pulled it apart in so many other ways in the past that it's almost not a movie to me anymore, which is I think it's more about the memoir it's based on. It's more about the time period and the context of Cuckoo's Nest before it. So
yeah, I totally get that. I think there are a lot of people who relate to that kind of thing. So
there was also, to me, a brief, but I'm a cheerleader connection when she got in the car and her suitcase was already there. And she was like, oh, I guess I'm going to this thing.
That's funny.
I think maybe Angelina Jolie is in the psychiatric hospital because she cut her bangs like that. And they decided she was insane.
Those bangs. It's so funny that they give her this hair.
I know.
They really try to ugly her up.
Doesn't work.
No. I don't want to spend this whole episode reading horrific reviews. But did you find this one from... because the CNN one is the one that we really hated. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you find this one from Stephen Holden at the New York Times?
I don't know. I thought I had a New York Times one, but...
It's called Girl Interrupted. Stop your whining, little girl.
I don't know if I saw that one.
With her tense little girl voice and big round eyes popping with heated questions, Winona Ryder has always radiated the high-strung energy of a brainy young woman who, despite her good looks, doesn't appear entirely comfortable inside her own skin.
Oh, how could that be possible?
Jesus Christ. These people, it is...
Yeah, the 90s, we've talked so much about how horribly sexist the 90s were, but I feel like it keeps coming back.
So what do we think? Okay. Girl Interrupted is a small, intense period piece with a tough love attitude toward lazy, self-indulgent little girls. If he says little girls one more time, that's so gross. Flirting with madness. You can drive yourself crazy or you can get over it. The choice is yours.
Oh, yeah, he definitely got it. God. Yeah, if you want to know what it was like to grow up in the 90s, just read some male reviewers reviewing any of the quote-unquote women's movies of the time.
Yeah, it's pretty horrific. Good Lord.
Yeah. I mean... I think the reason this was so interesting to me at the time was just because, we hadn't seen anything that talked about the difference between being a woman and experiencing mental illness versus being a man and experiencing mental illness. So, most of what we had seen was either completely heavy-handed and full-on, hysteria, craziness, or the male version, Cuckoo's Nest. And so this was, I'm trying to pinpoint why... At the time, I thought this movie was really important to me because I don't think I ever thought it was a great movie, but I think that's it. I think it's the fact that in the late 90s, we hadn't really seen any version of mental illness relating to young women that treated them like human beings that were experiencing life and having a reaction to it.
That's right. That's right.
You know? Like, the fact that they keep referring to how promiscuous she is, like, in the 90s, that still resonated.
Yeah. It's funny that seems to be her worst crime. Even in... So, I haven't read the book, but the paperwork when she is reading through her chart is like a recreation of I saw in the book itself. Yeah. And it's like the biggest note on there is that she's promiscuous, and it says may get pregnant.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That's not a diagnosis. Like, what are we? It's not a like.
Oh, but it is. I mean, it has been.
And yeah, I was going to say
for a really long time. It has been. You know, I mean, like, there's a list. When I did last week, I was talking about how I've been on tours of these buildings. There's the one in West Virginia. There's like a poster or something in the gift shop that's a list of all of the diagnoses of the people that were in the hospital at, you know, in like late 1800s. We would put people away for
all kinds of things.
All kinds of things.
And also, because I have to say this, I understand that one of the ways that some people engage in quote unquote risky behavior, which can be a sign of certain mental unwellness, is and also but also it's okay to well, she's also like, she kisses. The worst part about kissing the orderly is that the orderly kisses a patient. It's not, do you know what I mean? Like, they don't even have sex, I don't think.
No.
And also, the other person other than Toby that she has sex with is a college professor. Again.
Yeah. That's the professor's problem.
His problem.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, even as you were saying that about the mental unwellnesses of or how like mental illness was portrayed or not there, you know, even I was just trying to think of other examples, and like the Virgin Suicides, for example, doesn't even come out until a year later. Like I think that's 2000. So
yeah, I'm going to put this in the chat so that you can see it. 'Cause this is like, looks like looks like something that somebody created that's fake, but it actually is not fake. It's because I saw it at the museum. It's the list of reasons for admission to what was referred to at the time as the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. Look at the second one.
Kicked in the head by a horse. I like intemperance and business trouble.
Number 4, ill treatment by husband.
Imaginary female trouble. Man, I would go marriage of son. Boy, mom. Gotta put a...
Immoral life. Medicine to prevent contraception.
Masturbation for 30 years.
Yeah.
Menstrual deranged. Uh-oh. Jodie.
Novel reading. Yep. Overaction of the mind.
I like, okay, we could just go through this because overstudy of religion is fascinating because it's not, there is an optimal level of religious study that is.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and some of the stuff I've studied in terms of classification and imaging and diagnosis of patients, religious fervor, so to speak, was like a common diagnosis.
Again,
parents were cousins is on this list.
I like bad company.
Masturbation comes up multiple times.
Overtaxing mental powers. I've been there.
Yeah. Business nerves.
Female disease.
Asthma. A lot of the time these places.
What is hard study?
I think reading too much.
Man,
I don't know.
I would be in.
Yeah, you'd be in trouble.
For so many of these reasons. Gathering in the head.
But like,
superstition. Sorry.
You know, as we saw in Cuckoo's Nest, like this was a place. No, it's okay. What did you find?
The one that made me laugh was just uterine derangement. But also one of them just says the war. The war. Yeah. Any war. Most likely the civil one because this was 1864. But what does that mean?
PTSD, most likely.
Yeah. Okay.
Suppressed masturbation. I wonder how many times masturbation appears on this list. Shooting of daughter.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, okay. You know what?
Yeah. Suppression of menses. Fighting fire. Exposure in army. Yeah.
Rumor of husband murder. Ooh. Seduction and disappointment rules. That's so funny. I mean, it's not funny because these are real people, funny. But Jesus.
Yep. Sexual derangement, feebleness of intellect. So what I was going to say before you started laughing is just that, like, these institutions were not what we would think of as a psychiatric institution today. Like, there were people with epilepsy in them. Mm-hmm. There were people who were gay that were confined there. That's like...
Well, I think you used the word warehouse last week, where it really was just like, it's less about the people and more about society wanting them to go somewhere. So anybody who's like undesirable.
Yeah, exactly. And they're very connected to like poorhouses and almshouses in that way. The state hospitals specifically became those types of places. I mean, McLean famously, I keep saying famously as if other people study these things, but McLean, the hospital that Susanna Kaysen went to and that is Claymore in this film, is a very fancy hospital. It's like the gold standard of psychiatric hospitals, or it was at the time. I think it kind of still is. It's one of the like most well-funded. It's like,
well, I read that it's
private.
Do you have the list of other people who had been there?
Oh yeah, James Taylor. There were like a lot of famous people have been to McLean.
It's like Promises for rehab, but for
its campus is like. Was in 1895, the campus moved to Waverly Oaks Hill in Belmont, Massachusetts. Joseph Curtis, civil engineer, and Frederick Law Olmsted,
even I know that name,
consulted on the selection of the site. But yeah, it was. I mean, it's a private facility. It's the place where if you were famous in New England or in the Northeast, you would probably end up. So people like James Taylor, Ray Charles. Sylvia Plath.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, which makes sense when you know that Susanna Kaysen's dad worked with JFK and was like, they had the resources to do it.
Also, John Nash, the subject of A Beautiful Mind.
Princeton guy. There's a Jersey connection.
There you go. Marianne Faithfull.
I had a math teacher who studied under John Nash.
Whoa.
Brilliant guy, and I had no reason to be in his class.
David Foster Wallace apparently spent about 4 weeks there. So yeah, popular place.
I have Wikipedia open, and I just want to read a little something. This is a list of the characters in the movie, and so Polly Torch Clark, a young teen girl who deliberately burned herself as a child; Cynthia Crowley, who suffers from severe depression; Daisy Randone, who self-harms; Georgina Tuscan, a pathological liar; and Janet Weber, a sardonic woman with anorexia nervosa. I like that sardonic is part of her.
It's part of her diagnosis.
Yeah.
I'm surprised sardonic isn't on this list. I mean, Bad Company is.
That's so funny.
Fever and Jealousy. Vicious Vices, Woman Trouble.
You and I 100% would be making a fake podcast in this hospital. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way they'd let us out.
We'd be Polly by the music cage, but with the microphones.
Exactly.
I'm feeling very podcasty today. Well, as we're kind of meandering to the end of this one, it was interesting to revisit it as a movie and not as something that I was like mining for content for my like art practice. I think it's less successful as a movie than it is as a text for my art practice, but I'm glad that we watched it.
I'm so glad we watched it. It's also like...
Especially right after Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, and I was entertained the whole time. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it's...
No, the performances are good. And, I just think that... I think also because I have read the book, I find Susanna Kaysen a little bit annoying. I think... I don't know what it is, but I've seen interviews with her, and she seems a little pedantic. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, I actually kind of want to reread the book now to see if I'm making up that reaction to her for some reason. But
well, she hated the movie, right?
Yeah, but it's so funny when you see the interviews with the cast from right when they were making it. They're like, "Oh, we're so happy that she really likes it." When you hear Winona Ryder say that. And I guess she was pretending to like it while they were filming it, or maybe she didn't decide she hated it until afterwards. But
interesting.
Yeah, her reaction to it was like, they made this melodramatic crap out of my like serious story.
It's interesting. Interesting stuff.
Yes.
I think we do it.
I think we did. I feel a little guilty for spending less time on this movie than I thought I would. But
it's a pretty tidy movie. That's not true. That's not true. Because it leaves some things open. It's a pretty, like, what's the word I want? I think if you think about this movie the way some of the reviewers who are a little more generous talked about it, as being more about the characters than the actual story, there's, like, not... I think we did it.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the fact that, like, the book didn't have a plot, and they had to kind of create one for the movie, and the plot is not much of a plot. Like, they run away, they come back, she realizes that Lisa is trouble, so she decides to commit to getting better, and she gets better.
I was really worried that I'd forgotten that they kill Ruby.
Yeah. No, having that cat was just like a time bomb. It's like, what are they going to do to the cat? Don't do anything to the cat. The cat's fine.
Cat's fine.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you want to talk about what we're doing next week, Jodie?
I've seen this movie multiple times, but it was when I had a slightly stronger stomach.
I've seen this movie so many times.
This is your Girl Interrupted.
This is... Oh, boy. No, this is not my Girl Interrupted because I love
this movie.
I don't have conflicted feelings about this movie. I love this movie so much.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about it.
Me.
It's just a perfect movie. We're watching Silence of the Lambs.
We are.
Yeah, we're kind of taking a turn toward the darkness for the next few weeks.
Yes.
As we head into Halloween, when we'll have some lighter dark.
Yeah, lighter darkness.
Lighter darkness.
Yeah. No, I think the reason we're kind of heading in this direction is because October's coming, and we wanted to do something kind of October-ish in October, and so we're going to do movies from the list, but ones that are more Halloween-y.
In October, yeah. And here we're just kind of getting
we're leaning towards it.
Yeah, we're doing a tone shift.
Exactly.
And we're shifting into a movie that I just love. And if you haven't seen this movie yet, what are you doing? It's one of the only movies that's won the Big Five.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we talked about that with Cuckoo's Nest.
And it's fantastic. It's a little gory. Although I would argue it's a little less gory than you might think for a movie that's about a cannibal and a guy who skins women.
Skin suit.
Yeah.
It's not the amount of it you see, it's the idea of it. It's just a lot. I'll get through it.
I'll take the lead on this one, Jodie. You can sit back.
Cover my eyes or my ears.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I also realized it's been a few weeks since we mentioned what this list is that we keep talking about.
Oh, that's a really good point.
It might be a good idea to...
Hey, we should do a month of movies that feature lists.
Is that before or after we do a month of Groundhog Day in February?
Someday.
Just because we haven't said it in a while, if you are new to this podcast, the list that we keep referring to and not specifying is the list of movies that either appear in or are in the pitch deck for or are a part of the conversation around or appear in a video store in the TV show Yellow Jackets.
That's right.
Because that is how this podcast started. And there is a lot of pop culture connected to this TV show that we both really resonate with and is a insignificant part of our pop culture history. So,
yeah. And last season, the Yellow Jackets features a death's head moth. And it also features very heavily in Silence of the Lambs. So we've got lots of good reasons for watching this movie this week.
And it is on the list. I'm excited about the one after this, but we won't talk about that yet.
It's going to be a fun, I think it's always fun, but I really am looking forward to these next few weeks and then especially October. We're going to have a really good time in October. I'm not looking forward
to next week, but I'm looking forward to the rest of it. So, yeah.
Make sure you have a lemon handy.
Oh, seriously. I'm going to have to watch it lying down.
Have I mentioned on the show yet that Beautiful Anonymous, the podcast I produce, our 500th episode is at the end of October, and if you live in the New Jersey area, have I?
You haven't. You mentioned the New York Times list, or whatever the list was, but you haven't mentioned the 500th. Yeah.
Our 500th episode is coming up next month, October. It comes out the second to last week of October, but October 17th, it's a Friday. We are recording it live in New Jersey, in Atlantic Highlands, at Smod Castle Cinemas, which is the theater where, if you heard our episode where Jodie and I went to the Vulgarthon, it's Kevin Smith's theater. It's a great theater. I've been there as a performer. I don't know if that's the right word, and also as an attendee. It's a great place. We're recording a live episode of Beautiful Anonymous there. You don't have to have been a listener of Beautiful Anonymous to go to a live show. Every episode is its own thing.
It's really fun.
Thank you. I think it's really fun too, and I'll be there. And obviously,
it's more interactive than you think it would be too.
Yeah, we try to make the live show interactive, so you're not just sitting and watching.
Yeah.
I think it's super fun. You can come say hi. We'll also have our zine for sale. And
nice.
Yeah. So
there's a very, 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 very slim chance that I will be there, but there is still a chance. So you'll definitely be able to come say hi to me, and maybe you'll be able to come say hi to Jodie too. I would love for there to be more Watchers listeners in attendance than Beautiful Anonymous listeners. That will never happen.
What if that happened?
That would never happen.
I think every one of our listeners on the planet would have to come for that to be the case. Mm-hmm. We'd have to get every single listener to Atlantic Highlands in October.
And they'd each have to bring a friend. Anyway.
Okay.
Where can they find us?
We're
WatchersPodNJ@gmail.com.
Probably.
We are WatchersPodNJ on Instagram.
So true.
You can find me on Instagram at Jodie_Mim, JODIE_MIM.
And I'm at AQ Andrea EQ.
Everybody,
bang yourself in the head.
Get in the car. Drive to New Jersey.